this morning on this beautiful Wednesday morning if joy is who you are today? That's the question. Answer in the comments. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Welcome to another episode of Project Joy Live. It's your triple shot of good vibes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this 9 a.m. Eastern Time hour. This was supposed to be a solo show today, and then I got into a conversation last night and I was like, you should come on the show with me. So we have a very special, secret, surprise guest, everybody. Isn't that very Ricky Lake of me? We were just talking about the old talk shows from the 80s and 90s with Danielle the last time she was on the show. We were talking about Ricky Lake and Sally Jesse Raphael and Jenny Jones and Montel and Maury Povich and the whole deal. And so I was rewatching some of the old episodes, and they would do a lot of those like super secret surprise things, like somebody's hiding behind the door, they come to share their secret crush, and out they come from the door, and it's and everybody's like, but didn't you know? And they're like, no, I had no idea. I just thought they were being nice. They weren't flirting for the last 5 years. So funny to go back and watch some of those old shows, but it is not that kind of super secret surprise today. Luckily, we are going to be talking about a little more of a serious topic, this morning. Are we just consumers or something more than that? Um, I thought a lot about this as I went in to do a lot of my legal stuff for the Breakthrough Show Network over the last couple of months. Got my terms rewritten, policies, privacy, procedures, guidelines for our different community spaces. And so there's a lot when you're doing that where you're thinking about what is my role, right, as the creator of a space, or the founder of a community or the owner of a business. What is my role in that? But then you also do have to think about what is the consumer's role in those things as well. And it got me going down this rabbit hole in my mind of, do we have a role in what we support? Are there like certain responsibilities? So we're going to talk about that today with our special guest coming up here in just a couple minutes. But if you're joining us live or on the replay, head over to the comments and let us know what is bringing you joy this morning. I am okay. It's currently 53 degrees and sunny here in southeastern Connecticut. 53, guys. We have been playing a game of ping pong here in southeastern Connecticut. Well, really all of New England. It's that very up and down time of year. We had a week where at the beginning of the week we were in the 20s, and at some point towards the end of the week we were at 80 degrees. That is a big difference, okay? And your body just cannot adjust. But we're at this sort of like happy middle space today at 53 degrees and sunny. I'll take the sun. I like, around 55, 60 degrees. I think it's good for me because I'm a hot natured person. That's not too cold for me. My husband would disagree, but it is what it is. Also bringing me joy today. So my daughter made me this gorgeous smoothie bowl this morning, but she makes a huge bowl. Okay. A huge bowl. And I'm only like halfway through, and I've been eating on this for the last hour and 10 minutes, everybody. So, but it was delicious. And um I have talked about this before, how I love making little seltzers and mocktails and things like that. And I'm always looking for different flavored syrups and things like that to put in these drinks that I make. And I wish I would have brought it in here so I could show you, but you know how I love my nostalgic things. There were two syrup flavors. They are put out by Strawberry Shortcake. Okay. Has little strawberry shortcake on the bottle. So cute. One of them was strawberry shortcake flavors, and the other one was raspberry tort. They're so delicious, really delicious flavors. But she put a little bit of the strawberry one in my smoothie bowl. So my smoothie bowl actually tastes like strawberry shortcake this morning. So it's a vibe. It's a vibe over here. And of course, I'll probably end up keeping the damn bottles because because they have a little strawberry shortcake on them. But I found them at Home Goods, and Home Goods. Anybody else love a Home Goods? Let me know. This is the first place I've lived close enough to one to I could go every day if I wanted. It's that close to my house. Um, I don't go every day because I would be divorced. Probably is what it is. But I love Home Goods. But sometimes it's like one of those stores where you go in and sometimes you find something and then you go back and they don't have it ever again. I think they get sometimes maybe a lot of closeouts and things like that, which is fine. But so when you find strawberry shortcake, you got to hang on to strawberry shortcake, is my point in that entire rambling. But I love a Home Goods. Love a Home Goods. Teresa's in our VIP seat out in the audience this morning. Good morning, Teresa. Lovely to see you as always. Saying D is here today. She's always a bundle of joy, and I would agree. I would agree. Even on Sang and I's worst days, we are still epic. Okay, it's what it is. It's currently 46 degrees in Kansas City with a high of 61 today. I go back. Do you guys remember season? What are we on now? What are we on Project Joy? Season 7. Is that what we're on Project Joy? Maybe I don't know what season we're on anymore. But anyway, a couple seasons ago, I used to do the weather on Wednesdays all the time. And I kept talking about how I needed a green screen so I could be like, Sang over here in Kansas City has a front coming. We could do the whole, showing, fulfill my need to be the weather girl, I guess. But so now we know what it is in Kansas City. And I used to go down the list, all the people that were watching. I would share the weather in Africa and Europe and like all these places. We would share the weather. It was a fun time. Sang loves a Home Goods too. Loves a Home Goods. I have an outing with a friend and we sat on couches for like 2 hours and talking and no one bothered us. I love that. Love that. I was thinking about how nice it would be to go. Who wants to come over? We'll go down to so down my favorite beach if you walk to the end of the boardwalk, there is a little like an inlet where the water comes in. I think it might lead to a little river in the back, a marsh area, but you can go, and this little river is so peaceful. Who wants to come and sit with me by the river? I think that would be so nice to get to do that. But it's getting to be that time of year. I was talking to somebody about that via text this morning. I said, we're looking forward to beach days. Beach days are coming soon, my friends. Thanks coming to the river. Let's go to the river. I'm just making up songs now. All right, everybody, we're going to take a super quick break. And when we come back, our super secret surprise guest will be here through the magic of our broadcast. And we'll be right back after this.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Project Joy Live, and please welcome back to the show our super secret surprise guest, Sang D, magically came from the comments section all the way to the screen just for you. Good morning, Sang.
Good morning. It was such, listen, I don't run, but I ran in here.
It was a long run to come in. And okay, so what is bringing you joy this morning, first of all?
Being here for one, my tea that I made this morning, my good, great conversation that I had with my good friend Kathleen this morning, and the sun is shining for once in about 4 days. So I'm super excited about that. It's been storming so much.
I was
So
gonna say you guys have had a ton of like pretty wicked storms already this year.
listen, it was hailing yesterday at 1:30. At 1:45, the sun was
Wow.
out like nothing happened. I was like,
We love
love it
Mother
here.
Nature. Mother Nature loves it here.
Right? She loves it here too.
I love it. I love it. Okay, do you have a zipper on your top? Is it a zipper? I bet you didn't know this, but today is National Zipper Day, and look at you coming prepared.
You know, I am a former Girl Scout leader. I did teach the Girl Scouts to always be prepared. You never
That's
know.
what guys, this Girl Scouts prepares you for life apparently. But on this day in 1913 was when the patent for the modern zipper was issued.
So what did it go into? What did they put a zipper in? Do you know?
Let's see. The first attempt at creating the zipper came from the inventor of the sewing machine in 1851. Elias Howe received the patent for the automatic continuous clothing closure. Could you imagine if it was still called that?
Yes. Where's your automatic clothing closure? Can you imagine saying that to a man if his fly is open instead of saying, and why do we call it a fly? But anyway.
However, Howe, here's a fun fact though. Howe never marketed his invention and missed the recognition he may have received. 42 years later, Whitcomb Judson began selling the clasp locker. Clasp blocker. Okay. Similar to Elias Howe's patent, this device served as a more complicated hook and eye shoe fastener. Judson started the Universal Fastener Company, where he manufactured his new device and debuted it at the Chicago World Fair in 1893. There he met with very little success. Could you imagine, like, zippers are in so much of what we have today. They just didn't care back then. They were like, this is not.
I feel like they could be in everything. I mean, even bras. Some bras have zippers. I feel like the only thing
Yes.
that doesn't have a zipper maybe our panties and underwear, but I don't know. That's questionable. And then our socks. Like,
Right. Zippers are on a lot of things. They're purses.
on bags, they go
Yes.
zip your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, in 1906, the Universal Fastener Company hired Gideon Sundback, a Swedish-American electrical engineer. He was highly skilled and known for his devotion to the company. And on April 29th, 1913, he was granted a patent for the modern zipper known as the separable fastener.
Oh, geez. The evolution of names. I love this. So how did we get to zipper?
I don't know. It says, okay, it says he submitted modifications to his invention in 1917. Today, we wear designs quite similar to the one Sundback created in his patent. While he may have called them a separable fastener, we know them as zipper. And by 1923, B.F. Goodrich popularized the word zipper as it applied to use in boots and pouches it made. The company even copyrighted the name for a time. So I don't even know that it's copyrighted anymore, but it used to be copyrighted as zipper.
Wow. BF Goodrich. Is that like a tool place or something? Like that's
I feel like I know that. I don't know what all. I think those are pretty big company. Pretty
manufacturer company, maybe.
Yeah. So the more you know. Dum 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 dum.
In case anybody's on Jeopardy, you know where you found it.
That's it. I want credit. You guys. Shout out to Project Joy Live for teaching me.
Right. You're telling me about.
This is an educational program, and we are going to be educational this morning. So you and I were having a conversation last night about, we were on a topic about responsibility. So we're talking about, when we sign up for something or if we have something we want to do, you and I are very similar. We'll put it in our calendar. We'll set 3 alarms. We'll make sure I'll be like, "Hey, Sang, remind me I have to do this." Like we try to do whatever we can to make sure that we're being responsible about things that we want to do, we sign up for, we want to be a part of, whatever. But there's a lot of people that I have known in my adult life who they're just they'll tell you like, I'm not a calendar person. They don't set alarms. They're always the people that are coming to you saying, "Hey, where's the link?" or "What time is this at?" or whatever. And so it got me thinking about the topic today, and that's why I was like, you should come on and we should talk about this.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like just off the cuff, as a consumer, do
Mhm.
you feel any sense of we'll say use the word responsibility loosely towards that which you are consuming?
I mean, the word responsible, I think, is the one I have a problem with, right? But like I saying irresponsible. Not that I'm irresponsible, but anyway. I think yes, I am. Like I am responsible for things that I consume. Like,
Mm,
and because I made a choice,
yeah.
right? And I think there's a lot of different ways you can take this topic, right?
Mm,
But I made a choice, and I know for myself, and I know we talked about this briefly last night too, because I want to know how many people have bought courses that you don't use anymore. That you
yeah.
never even went through the whole thing.
Raise your hand if you have bought a course that has sat in your folder or wherever online and you've never gone through it. Raise your hand.
Right?
Let us
Or
know
if
in the
you went
comments.
through like the first beginnings of it and then it just
Mhm.
there, right? And then when I thought about that, because and that to me is my irresponsibility to myself, right? Because there
Yeah.
was a point where I finally said, I'm not buying anything else because I'm not even doing the work. And I think it becomes down to that honest conversation with self to go, why do I keep doing this? And I keep chasing something that I'm not even doing the work for.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Teresa said, "Yes, I have courses I'm still going through."
Well,
So,
she's still going through them. Love that. Do you know how many are sitting on my shelf collecting virtual dust?
well, and that's part of like you and I were talking about that, bless you, the honesty that we have to have for ourselves, right? Like towards ourselves, because there will be I have courses that I have sitting, and by the way, I'm not saying this is what you're doing, Teresa. I'm talking about myself, but
Right. Yeah.
I have courses that, or even like books that I like, personal development books that I have sitting on my shelf that I bought with the intention of going, "Oh, I'm going to go through this and this is going to change my life." And I will look at them on the shelf and be like, "I'm still reading those. I haven't even opened them." even open them. Because I'm not being honest with myself. But by the way, Sang bought me an amazing book. Sang
Yeah.
bought me an amazing book, and I was looking for the right time to start reading it. And my new app that I was telling you guys about on Monday has a thing where for 30 days you read before bed, and it tracks if it impacts like your sleep at all, your mood, whatever. And I started it 3 nights ago. I read a little bit every night. I'm very excited about this book. But I'm not doing this anymore where I'm sitting here and going, I'm going to do this, and then I just don't do it. Like, that's not being like you said, responsible to yourself
Mhm.
either.
Right. Well, and it comes down to like even that book, right? So I got that book. I know Selena Sue wrote the book, and I know who helped her write the book. Alexandra Franzen helped her write the book, as and I've been following Alexandra Franzen's like my writing goddess hero from like 2012, right? And a lot of work that the people that she works with, and so going into that book, I'm reading it and I'm like, yes, this is things that I teach and things that I talk about. And but I carry it around like a little Bible, right? Because
Mm,
but I knew because there are tons of books. There's literally a book that we're taking a course on right now. I've had the book for 10 years, 10,
mm,
15 years, right? It's gone with me to probably 4 houses. Okay. It's traveled across many state lines,
Mm,
right? I just opened it this year and then realized this book is not even for me. So then there's that.
yep. Yeah, that's interesting too, right? Like we have to remember if we buy something for a certain time, if you let it sit there and you don't use it, then you could come back to it in, even as little as a year and it might not be for you anymore. Even as little as 6 months, the way things change for us, the speed at which things change in our lives, it might not be for you anymore.
Right.
And so and going back to the topic, I was also talking to you about, Soul Saturday Morning Coffee as an example of this sort of responsibility kind of relationship with what we consume. So, Soul Saturday Morning Coffee, this is my 10th year hosting that space every Saturday morning. And for an hour, we have a topic that we focus on for the month, and then I pose a question each week and we all kind of round robin answering the questions. Now, there is not a requirement to answer the question, but I feel like there is sort of an unspoken responsibility for the space, because if I posed the question, like say we have 10 people in the room, right? I posed the question to everybody and nobody participated at all, we wouldn't have an event. We wouldn't have an event. Now, there's also the side of it where it's like, okay, if you decide not to answer the question, there's still sort of that, I'll just loosely use responsibility of listening,
Mm-hmm.
of maybe participating in the chat or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But so I think about that sort of relationship, but I also agree with you that using the word responsibility, it doesn't always feel yummy for people. So then I think sometimes people feel like, well, if it's my responsibility, I'm not coming.
Well, but I also think the responsibility also comes in, like, for example, when I was teaching, I
Mm,
was teaching for a company recently, and um, I would say to people, hey, come off camera, engage in the chat. They signed up to be there. I didn't force them to sign up. Okay. Like
right.
they were there on their own accord. Right. I even said, hey, come off camera. Let me know that so I feel like I'm not teaching to myself and I don't feel alone. And everybody, nothing. Right.
Crickets.
And then it just makes
Crickets.
it makes you as a teacher too, and a creator to go,
Mm,
so are you getting value? Because it then becomes, I started questioning, and the first time it happened, right? I questioned, like, are they listening? Are they getting it? So then I was like, wow, you guys must be such amazing artists or writers, because I'm sure you're taking everything that I'm learning and plugging it in right now, right? Because I mean, I don't know what you're doing because
right.
you're not answering the questions. And then you have that awkward pause. But then, when they tell you to have that pause, I tell people to have pause. I get it. But when you're in a class and there's just a pause, you remember that in
Mm,
school, right? And then the teacher would just finally call on someone, though,
yes.
right? Like, imagine if we did that in our adult life all of a sudden. Excuse me, Frank, can you answer? Can you come off camera and answer, please? Like,
You know who will do that too is Peggy MacArthur. Peggy
sure,
MacArthur will
right?
do that. If we go to a plaza event and she says, who has something that they want to, work on with this topic today, and nobody answers, she'll be like, "All right, Sang, how are you doing?"
Well, and I'll tell you what's happened to me as a person, as a participant now, right? Like, I still teach, it still happens,
Yeah.
right? There's still
Yeah.
be people in there that will be who signed up, who paid to sign up, and will just be like, I'm thinking that's what they're doing at home because I have no idea.
Right. You don't know.
So I go to the other side of it, right? And I've become this person now that I sit at the front of the room. I if we're in a room and no one's talking, one, the silence probably gets to me more than anything. And two, I used to be that person who goes, oh, I wonder who's going to go first, because I would want them to go first so that I could then think about how I wanted to answer. Right.
Mm.
And now I'm like, I'm just going to go first and say what I got to say, and everybody else can figure out their own stuff because I'm pretty confident in what I got to say.
Yeah.
Right. But it
Yeah.
becomes that space where, one, I didn't want the teacher now, because now I had been the teacher or whoever's leading, whatever. to not feel like they were alone, and we're here for a reason. Like, I'm here to
Right.
consume whatever information that is being given, or I chose to be in this space.
Right.
So what did I come here for? What is my intention for coming here to be in this space and consume with others? I mean, do I want rich relationships, or do I want not so rich relationships? Relationships come in conversations, community come in conversations. How do we get to know each other without conversations? And I get sometimes that people don't want to be vulnerable in certain spaces, but again, that goes back to the teacher. I think the teacher and the leader who creates that safe space. But then I get it. Tell me, what do you do when it's all silent? I'd love to know what's your tricks.
Um, when is so typically like okay, so in some of the situations I've been in where somebody will ask a question and it's really quiet. I've thought about this the other day because I was in this situation. Somebody asked a question, room was crickets. Number one, I didn't have anything to contribute. So to what that particular question was, it didn't apply to me. And so, but I did feel as someone who understands what it's like to be in that position,
Mhm.
I felt almost a pressure to be like, you need to say something so that they don't they don't feel bad about whatever's going on in the room. I felt this sort of responsibility having been on the side of them to I need to say something because I don't want them to feel what I felt, before in leading a space. And
Mhm.
so, but I don't necessarily want to force something either. Why should I
Mm,
force some sort of response that doesn't apply to me anyway?
mm.
So there was a lot of things going through my mind in that moment. Teresa was saying in college, I like to sit by the people who asked a lot of questions. That way I could slip in some of my questions through
Listen,
them.
Teresa is stealth and covert. She's like, sit by the people who talk a lot so that, hey, yo, I get it. I get it. I get
But
it.
Teresa's so amazing now at sharing. Like she might not always be the first one, but she does share a lot when we're in spaces. And I appreciate that. I don't ask anybody to have to be the first one, but to have that sort of, I think symbiotic relationship, whether we are in a group or one-on-one, rich relationships at the very beginning of the book starts talking about that. It
Mhm.
starts talking about being willing to give to each other
Yes.
without borders, and not as a sort of you give and then I give and then you give and then I give or some sort of
Missing talents.
tally,
Yeah.
but just to do it.
Mhm.
And so it's I think it's important to think about that as we are receiving, whether
Mhm.
we purchased to receive or not, to think about what once we've said yes, again, whether it's verbally signing up or through our credit card, what is our role after that? We won't even take responsibility off the table. What is our role after we've said yes?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I wanna plant a little seed too. I think going back to the classroom, another thing that you and I know that we embody is empathy. So
Mm,
not wanting the teacher or whoever is at the front to feel a certain way.
yeah.
We do that thing to try to smooth it over too. Um, but I will say starting first, um, it becomes even saying something first is always it's become interesting for me because then if I don't, I know there's a specific group that if I don't say anything first, I'm like, I'm not going first. Right.
Mm,
Then the rest of them become uncomfortable. Maybe, I don't know. I know I would,
yeah.
but I do. Yeah. It's just a great place to observe and find the special cadence and how you want to be in that room.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, I do want to say hello. Miss Brittany is here this morning.
Hi,
Good morning, Miss Brittany.
Brittany.
Good to see you. And yeah, finding what works for you. And I think that's important to remember as the leader of the space as well, or the creator of the product or service or whatever, the person at the helm of things. I think it's important to remember because I would create community environments and I would tell people right out, like, if you're gonna do this, do it. Like we're not half-assing this this community experience, right? And so, but my definition of being all in could be very different than someone else's definition of being all in. When I would say all in, I would I mean that as like be there, camera on, microphone on, ready to explore, ready to ask questions or, share in the conversation. And so my with that mindset, I would go into leading thinking everybody's definition of all in was also that. And so
Mm,
when I wouldn't get that, I would feel like there was something wrong with me. Meanwhile, if I would have just asked in the beginning, what does all in, when you bought this course, what were your expectations? When you signed
mm,
up for this workshop, what were your expectations on how you were going to participate? Then if once they answer that back for you, the disappointment that you feel when they don't behave in the way that you expected them to is erased. It's gone.
right, right. Yeah. Hmm.
You
And because
know?
I think it's very important. Something I feel we were not taught when we were younger is to ask those questions, because at some point I
Mhm.
feel we were told not to ask any more questions.
Right.
And that kind of carried over into schoolwork and whatever you were going through as a child. And I think asking it wasn't positioned to us that we were asking for clarity.
Mm,
It was positioned, I feel like, that we were asking to question authority,
yes.
but we wanted our core being wanted to ask for clarity, but we didn't.
Mm,
Because back in the day, so to speak, if you were asking a question, you were asking to oppose authority, basically, or defy authority or something. And so that's why I'm with Teresa, sit next to the person who asked all the questions so they can be the one to defy authority.
yeah.
Because that's what I would have
Yeah.
done, because I never wanted to. I listen, as in college and stuff, never was the one to speak up. Never.
Yeah. In college, me neither. I had some professors that were just not as nice as my high school teachers were. So I was like, I was thrown way off by that. Teresa, this is so something just popped into my head. Why I like letting others share first is because I want to make sure that where I am going with it is not way off. So
Mm,
sometimes we have this fear that we are going to answer, incorrectly, or, what would happen if we answered with something that was not, maybe we misunderstood, and then people, might think of us a certain way or whatever. But you know what this reminds me of? The other day was a very special holiday. It was April 25th. Do you remember which movie?
it's the perfect day.
It's the perfect date. So the movie Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock. Okay,
Mhm.
they ask one of the contestants in the pageant, what's your idea of a perfect date? Do you wanna tell us?
April 25th.
It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and all you need is a light jacket.
That's it. Right? Like, I
and
don't understand the problem. I'm with her. I'm with
and
her.
and then she later on in the movie they're having a discussion about this, and she's like, I didn't come across right, I answered that all wrong, but everybody else was like, they were lifting her up, it was so sweet.
Listen, it's such an honest answer, right?
Right.
You've never seen it. She doesn't have the history, but still, it was the perfect answer, right? She answered it, your favorite word, authentically,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
As a matter of factly. And who competes with world peace with that?
I know.
Right? Because I mean, granted, sometimes April 25th are not sunny and whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's sunny somewhere on April 25th.
That's right. That's right. I just love that. I love that part of the movie because it reminds me to just not be afraid to answer. So what if you sound silly in the moment to other people?
Yeah.
Like, just you got to be yourself. You have to be yourself. And sometimes the mistakes that we make, or the not and not even mistakes, but sometimes the way things are in the moment, it might be the comic relief that we need. It might, and it gives people an opportunity to see that we are human beings. We're
Hmm.
not always perfect. We don't always get it. So, unless you're trying to portray yourself as someone who never gets anything wrong, never misunderstands anything, or whatever, allow yourself to be first. Who cares if it's, and we can always, like we were talking about, ask questions first. If you do have that, that not sense of not being sure what the question actually implies, then say, could you elaborate on that question? And
Hmm.
then answer, something, do something, but don't be afraid to answer first and
Hmm.
participate because it brings you
Yeah.
joy.
I have a few key phrases. I remember this guy, his name was Antonio, and he used to laugh at me because when I would talk to him, he would say, I would be like, "Oh, tell me more." And he would just bust out laughing because he recognized that I would say that often, or I
Yeah.
would say, I'm not quite sure I understand. Will you tell me
Mm,
more about that? Like, and he was just like, you do that all the time. I was like, because I don't understand. How else am I going to get you to tell me?
right.
Right. And so he picked up on that, which I thought was great. And even recently, I've been having conversations, and I think there's a way, and sometimes we can get the other information without saying, what? What do you mean?
Mm,
Why? Because we also have that in our system, right?
mm-hmm.
Because we don't like to be questioned either. But it could be, I'm like, oh, coming from a place of curiosity and going, oh, that's really interesting. I love how you saw that. Tell me more about how that came about, or whatever. Uh-oh, what frozen here?
We're back.
Well,
And
whatever.
we're back.
A little glitch. Apparently, Jesus didn't want me to say that. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It wasn't even about Jesus, I don't think. But it's and they made me, and now he done made me lose my thoughts. So clearly, I didn't need to say it. Oh, but
Uh,
asking, just being able to still generate and have a conversation may
mm,
not always have to be with questions. Now it could be, tell me more about that. Oh, that's fascinating. Tell me the story behind that.
right.
Right. Then you're able to get more context around things too. I know there are certain times and places where we have to ask questions specifically, so I'm not talking about those, but
Mm,
and telling a story and saying, hey, I this happened, and then allow the conversation to flow, but no, I think also where, what information are you looking for?
mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as the reason why I wanted to tie this particular topic into Project Joy is because for me, um I've shared before that I made that declaration at the end of 2019 that I'm not going to do anything unless it brings me joy anymore. And that means that in certain situations that aren't inherently joy on a silver platter, that I'm going to do what I can do to bring more joy to that circumstance, relationship, whatever. Because there are things we have to do as adults that we have to do that we're like, they're not, I don't get joy from doing the damn dishes. Okay. I've shared that before. So what am I going to do? I'm going to crank up the music. I'm going to have a good time while I'm doing it. Might call Sang and be like, let's wash dishes together,
You
do
know?
what we have to do. But so when we sign up for something, again, signing up could mean signing up. It could mean paying for something, buying something, showing up to a place, saying yes, whatever that signing up for something looks like as a consumer. We get so much more joy out of it when we actually use it. Number one, there's a concept. Don't just leave it on the shelf. But number two, fully participate in it. Make the time for it. Put it in the calendar. Set a reminder. And raise your hand and be first sometimes. Just
Right.
and it just you just never know where that's going to leave,
Right.
and it brings more joy to it. So, what are some things that we can do today to be more joyful consumers? Saying, what's your thoughts?
I mean, look at what you're taking in, is that what you want to
Mm.
take in? Right? Like, I know we talk a lot about in society, we talk about TV and we talk about newspapers. Sorry, who has newspapers? But
They do
we're
exist. They're
still
just
making
not.
them, right? Like, I'm mad Oprah doesn't have a magazine anymore, but we're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
But you get to decide, and I think a lot of times we become so overconsumed too
Mm.
that we don't know what to do with all the information, and then we get into is it consumer I don't even know the words right now. I can't even get it out. But paralysis, that's the word.
Mm. Yeah.
Where because I was even saying this on LinkedIn, right? Where somebody was like, "Oh, we get these sports updates. What do you think about that?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't go to LinkedIn for sports updates. I don't need to know about breaking news on LinkedIn."
Is that a thing? Sports
Listen,
updates on LinkedIn?
I didn't know till the other day, and I put my comment in there, and I was like, "This is from a big dog. I like him, right? Like he's very good at what he does." And so I was like, "Yeah, it's not for me because I don't come to LinkedIn. I don't." And I even said every platform I feel like, whatever you're on, it's becoming this all-in-one place. So if you go to Facebook, it's all there. You go to Instagram, it's all there. You go to LinkedIn now, apparently it's going to be there. I don't know. It's like, I used to be on Pinterest just for Pinterest. I used to get 20 something thousand views a month.
Mm.
And I wasn't even looking at stats because I was just on Pinterest for fun.
Right.
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 And then it just became, now I don't know if I'm clicking a real link anymore. And it's kind of irking me, but you get to decide what you consume, why you're consuming it. Is it perfect for you, or is it right for you right now in this stage of your life? Because we'll buy things too and be like, you know what, I'll read that next week.
Mm.
And I think we focus so much on something that's not in the now. Like, what am I working on now? What books do I need to read now? What shows or whatever serves me now?
Mm.
And I think and if you go into those platforms and it's not the information you're looking for, why are you there?
Right. Right. Yeah, I even think about that when I look at like what pages or people I'm following on social media and evaluating for myself like why am I following? Am I just curious? Is this somebody I'm going to interact with? Am I just following to gossip in the background? Like what is it that I'm following this person, place, or thing for? And so I love that idea that you're sharing of pausing before even saying yes and making a decision or determining, hey, is this something that is going to help me in my life right now? Is this something I really need in this moment? I
Mhm.
think for me, I my biggest tip I would say is to, once you've said yes and you're in, you've bought something, you're part of something, whatever, take that time to evaluate. Even if you've been in there for a little while, evaluate what your role is with that thing or in that space or with that person, and say, am I fully participating? Am I making this a priority? Where does this fall in my life? And going back to what Sang said, make that evaluation and then make a choice. You don't have to have 50 books sitting on your shelf that you are never going to open. You've got to be honest with yourself. And then once you clear out that shelf, you might have 3 books left that bring you so much joy that you're going to commit to reading. And that just increases your joy. You don't have 50 books that you're looking at where you're going, oh, that's sad. I'm never going to read those. Or, I might get that next week. That's not a joyful feeling. It's not a
Right.
joyful feeling.
Especially when
So
we have libraries that we can still go to and hang
I know,
out.
I know libraries are a thing. Guys.
In case anybody forgot, I have a library card. I frequent the library at least 4 or 5 times a month, right? So we have to remember too what our resources are.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to go buy a book. We could, be a resourceful consumer, right?
Yep.
It
Yep.
could be, and find it in that capacity too. And I think that's key too. And again, once you get
Absolutely.
in, I think what you said, once you get in, what is your role? What do you want
Right.
out of this class? Are you showing up to get what you want out of this, whatever it is?
Right. Absolutely. I want to say hi to Tropical Arcade over on Twitch. Good to see you today.
Yes.
All right. Any final thoughts about this topic thing?
Listen, there's a lot of things we consume, whether it's our environment. And I was going to even say this. I have a friend, she'll invite me to things, and then she knows my next question is, who's going to be there? Because
Mm,
there's certain energies I don't want to consume. So I think, again, being mindful and cognizant of yourself to know, where do I want to spend my time? How do I want to consume others? How do I want to consume information? How do I want to consume different things? Because we think sometimes we may misconstrue what the word consume is and use it in different capacities
mm,
instead of realizing that we are, at the end of the day, consumers. I think it was in Economics 101. We are, but consuming isn't just purchasing, right? It's what we're taking in, it's what we're listening to. If you're listening here, you're consuming,
right.
right?
Right.
There's so many things that they talk about our brain, and it consumes so much. We don't even use it all, I heard. I
Yep.
have no idea.
I heard that too. Rumors, guys. Rumors. All right, Miss Sang, it is time for birthdays. Are you ready?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna do my best.
Let's do it.
Happy birthday to you.
All right, everybody. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of people that have birthdays today, guys. All
Oh
right.
my God. 29th was a poppin' day. Get it?
It- literally. Um All right, everybody. In the world of celebrity today, independent news broadcaster Candace Owens is 37 years old today. Willie Nelson is 93.
On the road again.
Just
Just
can't
can't
wait to get
wait to go
on the road again.
back. Okay, Willie, got it.
First thing I thought of. All right, actress Uma Thurman is 56 years old today. Happy birthday, Uma. Actress Michelle Pfeiffer is 68 years old
What?
today.
No way.
I know. I feel like something's not right there.
Like, Dangerous Mind. She was just teaching us.
I know. Oh my god, I love that movie. Love that movie. All right. Jerry Seinfeld, 72 years old today.
All right.
Show about nothing at all. All right. Actor Daniel Day-Lewis is 69 years old today.
Perfect age.
Yes, love that. Race car driver that passed away in 2001, Dale Earnhardt, had a birthday today. I know a lot of people love Dale Earnhardt.
Mhm.
Rapper Master P is 56 years
The
old
ice cream
today.
man? Yeah. The ice cream. How old is he?
56 years old today.
Okay, Mr. P, Master P.
There it is. Jazz pianist Duke Ellington, who passed away in 1974, had a birthday today. Love that. Now, I have a birthday for you and a fun fact. Singer Tammy Terrell, who passed away in 1970, had a birthday today. She was apparently the original singer-songwriter of Ain't No Mountain High Enough, but it wasn't until Diana Ross sang that song that it became super well known.
Really?
Isn't that a fun fact? Tammy Terrell, 1970. Love that. And also actor Sam Jones III, who played Pete Ross in the Smallville series, is 43 years old today. Happy birthday, Sam. And the celebrities in my life, incredible, amazing entrepreneur woman. She is a vegan baker. Love her. Lynette Miller has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Lynette. Breakthrough Show alum Daniel Bruce Levin. If you guys have not seen the Breakthrough Show episode with him, it was probably 4 seasons ago. Go watch that episode, and you will not regret it. That's all I'll say on his birthday today. Also, Don Holman Brown and Deanna Shaw have birthdays today as well. Happy birthday to you guys. Anybody you're celebrating today saying?
No, it's my birthday every day, so to me.
They say it's your birthday. Da-na-na-na-na-na. It's my birthday too, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's get our birthday song on. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
There we go. Happy birthday. There's too many names to sing. Happy birthday to you. Yay. Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating. We hope you have an absolutely amazing day. That was fantastic. Saying thank you. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. It's absolutely my pleasure to be here. I will always be, what are they? Your stand-up gal.
Listen, I put a link in the comments a few minutes ago for you guys. You can connect with Sang at linktree/Sangtastic. I like to say Sangalicious, but Sangtastic will suffice.
Yes, it will work for now.
It will work for now. I'm going to be back with you guys on Friday with the amazing Danielle Valero, and we're going to be taking you back to 1985. Saturday morning, picture it. You've got a bowl of cereal. You're sitting in front of the TV and you're watching your favorite Saturday morning cartoons. That's where we're going on Friday morning, everybody. So put your scrunchie in your hair and your footy pajamas on because we're going to have a fun, nostalgic look back for Flashback Friday with Danielle. Anything that you have going on, Sang, that you want to share with the people? You have anything coming up?
I do. I have a few things coming up. I am working on, gosh, you put me on the spot and I'm just like not even ready for that. Imagine that. Because I was like, let me wrap up. You know what? I'm gonna have to get back to you because I have a lot of things going on, and I literally my mind drew like a whole blank. Like,
it's okay. Well, I know for a fact that you have a couple things on my calendar that you have going on.
Yes.
So I believe on Wednesday, May the 6th, you are starting the Art of Conversations, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, see, I knew we were going somewhere. Yes, I the Art of Conversations, and that kind of goes into what we talked about earlier today. It's just talking about how to have different types of conversations where everything is not so angry or attackful or defending and things like that. So it's really the art of having like smooth, non-threatening conversations. I know I also teach on the last Wednesdays of the month is your relationship with social media. Like we've talked about this a little bit before. I think it was, there's about 18 hours a week that people are scrolling on social media. And just imagine what you can do with those 17, 18 hours. Yeah. It's a lot. And then I'm working, I do have oh my gosh, how am I silly? The job search playbook is out too. And it walks through like all the different steps from what is the applicant tracking system to here are 40 prompts to play with and start with and all the AI stuff, how to use AI, what is AI in the job search, how's the job search different from what it was last year to 20 years ago. And if you're still putting your address on your resume, take it off. Okay? Like that's my biggest thing. I don't care what you do. Take your address off of your resume. That's all I ask you to do first.
There you go. Okay, you got a live tip. You're gonna go get the book. And it's amazing, by the way. I bought my copy because I have children graduating this year, and I thought it would be a great graduation gift for them to start looking through what will their resume process look like and all that fun stuff. So definitely go and check that out. for sure, because it's that time of year. You just need it.
Mhm.
And so I also have on the 6th, by the way, you could basically next Wednesday, you could spend the whole day with me and Sang. Okay, is what I'm telling you.
Absolutely. Yep.
Sang's workshop on the 6th is happening at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Mine is happening at 12 p.m. Eastern time, and it's called From Content to Connection, Designing Experiences That People Feel. So, really going to dive into whether you are creating a show, a virtual space, you're a new community, something, you're starting a new business, you want to make it an experience where you're inviting people in to be a part of it, not just something they consume, but we'll look at your responsibility of creating a space where people can really connect with, and not just take the content and that's it. So
Mhm.
that'll be coming up on the 6th as well. The link is in the chat. Saying D, thank you so much for being with me again today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me at the last minute. I'm here.
I love it. We look forward to the next time you're on. And don't forget to watch Rise and Shine Sundays as well. Sang is a guest on there with Jamie very often, and Ray, and all the amazing people that hang out over there. So check that out as well. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. This is Saying D, and we want to remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.